Hello and welcome to the Railwaymen. In today's episode we take on Manchester United and Atletico Madrid. Whew. Since we last met, beat Middlesbrough 1-0, Jose Roberto with the goal, then beat Stoke 2-0. Bet365, Pivovarov and Taylor Greengrass. Now, yeah, pressure's on for these two. 2 wins and we are in a good position. 2 draws or defeats, and we're falling off the pace of it. Let's just do this, shall we? Everyone's fit, so it's first choice. No excuses. Well, there's always an excuse, isn't there? Right. Topic of conversation today, something I've been thinking about: Qatar, or Qatar, or Qatar, or whatever you want to call them. I'm really looking forward to the World Cup, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them play more. I mean, you look at how Russia were in the build-up to their World Cup. They were really poor, but they were a penalty shootout away from the semi-finals. You know, Qatar, less favourable conditions, and Asian champions. They've started well in the Copa America. Oof. I mean, I'm not going to go over the top, but they could get quarterfinals at least. Perhaps even semi-finals. Perhaps even go all the way. You know. Because they play really good football, and they've built up a philosophy. Now, I'm not going to pretend they're perfect. Human rights isn't great in Qatar, but I've spent enough time on this planet to realise you don't help people change by shouting at them. That's not going to do anything. You can go to Qatar and protest all you like. That's not going to change anything, if we're honest. The best thing we can do is just encourage them. You know, open them up to the rest of the world. Don't cut them off as the villains. You know, perhaps well, I don't think anyone should agree with some of the laws they have in place in Qatar, but, you know, people, you know, it's a good example. You're doing something, you think it's perfectly fine. Oh, what a strike. Jesus. Daniel Renner, with his 11 long shots and 8 finishing, has just scored probably the goal of the season. But yeah, like, if you're doing something and you've never done it in any other way, if someone just, oh my god, they've injured 2 of our players, this is ridiculous. If someone comes up to you and says, look, I don't think what you're doing is right, because of this, this and this is how sort of I see it, and, you know, I think you need to change the way you see this. It might not take immediate effect, but over time, gradually, that, you know, but if you just shout at someone, like, you don't get a reaction, and, you know, a lot of people who go to protest aren't intelligent enough to figure out that, you know, yelling at someone doesn't necessarily make them change their mind. Like, and is it a better question? Is it a victory? Now that's a question I don't think anyone has ever considered in this scenario. Is it a victory? Because ultimately what you've basically done is you've threatened the government into changing something, but you've perhaps not changed their minds, they're just doing it because they're doing it, you know? Then you create a scenario where the government completely disagrees with what it's doing. The government implodes completely, and you end up in a position similar to where we are now, with Brexit and the political stance in England, you know? Whereas if genuinely a majority of people believe in this one thing and they back it, then there's no real... That is winning. That is succeeding. That is making the world a better place. You know, it's one of those things that interests me. That, you know, recently, stuff that's been happening in Sudan, you know, changing your Instagram profile picture is all well and good, but, you know, do you genuinely expect just doing that to make a difference, you know? You've got to... Yeah, we've lost her. But yeah, I it's tricky. How do you fix the world? It's a difficult question, and it's one that a lot of people don't understand. And my viewing on it is just don't take on too much. Anyway, I'll get back to this when we're ready for the Atleti game. Yeah, I'm interested in discussion with myself, technically. Right, so, Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Hopefully we'll be able to talk a bit more about the game. Yeah, obviously, is raising awareness an efficient way to make change in the world? That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to many things, to be completely honest. But, you know, the biggest thing you can do to make the world a better place is start with the people around you. That, like, you know, you can't make the whole world better in 10 minutes, you know? You gotta start small, and I think a lot of people, you know, you need to... I think it's difficult because we always, as, you know, try and be good people and put other people first, but the most important person in the world is you. Basically, that's what you've got to... That's got to be your mindset, because, you know, you've got to make sure, you know, while all this horrible stuff's going on in the world, you've got to make sure, first and foremost, that you're okay before, and that everything's good for you before you start to make everything good for other people. And I think that's something I've learned over the last couple of years of when I was in a very bad place. I was still always trying to make things better for other people, and that was not the right thing to... Well, it was an admirable thing to do, but it wasn't the logical thing to do. What the logical thing would have been to done is make my life better, because in that position, you know, you think about smiling. If it's contagious, almost. If you smile, someone else will probably smile too, and yeah. How can you make the world a better place if you can't smile? But yeah, no, I think obviously, yeah, it's complicated. Everything's complicated, and I think raising awareness and doing something in solidarity is fair play, and I'm definitely not against that in any way, shape, or form. It's just sometimes you wonder, you know, are there a lot of people doing it because other people are doing it? Do they genuinely believe? Do they genuinely want to make a difference? Would, given the scenario, they go to someone like Sudan and not even protest this, go and meet government officials and explain to them why this is wrong, for example? Or, you know, any scenario. Would you go and visit someone like Boris Johnson and tell him why you think Brexit is wrong? Would you have an interview with Donald Trump? Sat down in a room, he's got all his, you know, bodyguards, his protection, collar, behind him. You're just there, sitting there. Would you then be able to persuade him. And when I say persuade, the moment you start shouting at him, you've lost. Simple as that. Same with any scenario. As soon as you start shouting, you've lost that argument. You might get them to relent or stop doing the thing that you're annoyed, but you've not persuaded them. You've not put up a good argument, and you've not given reason for them to change. You've just had a go at them, really. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get. With properly protesting, you know, and a lot of protests these days, you're not, you know, go on, Pivovarov. Oh. And in a weird way, you know, you think about most of the protests and marches that happen, they're from far right or far left. I feel like the majority, would we not say? I don't know. Very few times there are moments when everyone comes together. A draw and a loss is not great from this episode. But yeah, no. I'm going to be talking about Qatar, and I've gone off on protesting. I mean, you know, it's like a podcast, isn't it? But yeah, no, that's my thoughts on that, I guess. It's complicated, it's confusing, and it's quite late at night, so don't hold me to anything I say. That's a key thing. And if you are media watching this video in 10, 15 years' time, know that, you know, stuff can happen to change my opinion. I might change my opinion for better or for worse, depending on which way you look at it. So, you know, yeah. We've got a mountain to climb over the next couple of episodes. We're going to come back. We can't come back for Krasnodar, Man City. We'll come back for Bournemouth and Atletico Madrid. Hopefully we'll have solved all our problems by then. I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.